I went from around 20% body fat all the way to sub 10%. And I didn't even think that was possible for me. After my newbie gains, I spent like 10 years looking basically the same. So I jumped on like fad after fad.
Welcome to CrossFit, Peter.
But nothing was a real game changer. It was so frustrating. On top of that, I got to 10% for the first time in my life after my wife and I had our first kid. Everyone told me my life would get impossible, which it kind of has. But my fitness life got easier. So this video explains step by step exactly how I got there. So this whole thing started around 2007 when I got sober and started working out. And I only say that because I know a lot of people have that experience. And for 2 years, I got my newbie gains, which is that initial progress. It's really exciting when you first go to the gym, but then everything stalled. So for like 10 plus years, I jumped from keto to CrossFit to Peloton.
Honey, you are in a jungle. You are running from a drug cartel.
And I got a great workout every time, but I didn't get like those amazing results. And what I learned is there is always some shiny new influencer out there with a one weird trick. Like this latest guy who's telling us all to eat bull testicles and that cardio is crap.
Cardio is officially for
Really?
Oh,
The truth is, most of those influencers, including that guy, are on steroids, which I never wanted to try because risking my health wasn't worth it. But the actual answer is usually a lot more boring than bull testicles. That is when I read a book called Bigger, Leaner, Stronger by Mike Matthews. It gave me, for the first time, a no BS roadmap. 2 lessons in that book changed everything. So I want to tell you those 2 and then talk about my approach to cardio. The first lesson is in the gym. It's called progressive overload, just a fancy term for lifting more weight, which I always kind of knew that I had to do to get bigger, but I never had a system. It would be like, oh, I'll walk into the gym and on a normal day, I'll bench like 135, but if I'm feeling strong that day, I'll bench like 155. I never got anywhere. Of course, I blamed my genetics for why I couldn't get as big as those other people, but the problem was my system. So what I use now is called double progression. Here's how it works. So I work in the 4 to 6 rep range. If I lift a given weight for 6 reps, then I add a little more weight, which naturally drops me back down to 4 reps. Once I get stronger with my new weight, all the way up to 6 reps, I add more weight again and drop back down. When I first started this, all my lifts went up big time. I went from benching 155 to 170 in a few months. It works on every exercise, and I track my progress on an app called Strong. People are going to argue about the ideal rep range to work in, but everybody agrees that progressive overload works. The second lesson is in the kitchen, and it's called energy balance. Calories in, calories out, that's it. And I know a lot of people don't like to count calories, but it works. It's guaranteed. The first step to this is I had to figure out how many calories do I need to eat to just maintain. So for me, if I eat about 2,400 calories every day, I'm not gonna gain weight, I'm not gonna lose weight, I'll just maintain. And then I cut from there. So I cut 25% to lose fat. So for me, 1,800 calories a day is that magic number. And it's different for everybody, and there are calorie calculators on the internet that you can find. Cutting calories is guaranteed to have you lose 1 to 2 pounds per week, and then you just keep doing that for like 12, 14 weeks, whatever. But the trick is to lose fat, not muscle, because no one wants to be skinny fat.
Give it to me. Come on, work it, work it. Oh, yeah.
And there are 2 ways to make sure you're only losing fat. The first is to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I aimed for like 40% carbs, 40% protein, 20% fat in my day. I didn't have to be perfect on all those, but having a high protein diet is a must. The second thing to lose only fat is to keep lifting. And we'll talk about cardio in a second, but lifting is the key to getting truly shredded, because it tells the body, like, okay, I know we're in a calorie deficit here. We have to burn energy. Don't burn this muscle, because we're using that. Only burn the fat. Then there is cardio, because I do disagree with the Liver King. Cardio is a part of this. But there are a few tweaks I made to the 2 keys, progressive overload and energy balance. The first one is I don't lift super heavy weights anymore. Like, remember the 4 to 6 rep range? Yeah, my ego loves that because I lift big, but my body did not, okay? One time I was doing tricep extensions for 85 pounds, which for me is a ton, and my left elbow just popped. and it wasn't like super severe, but I had to stop my workout. So I went to a doctor and he said I partially tore my triceps tendon. That set me back about 3 months in the gym. I then had a similar issue with my shoulder, and now I realize I can lift in higher rep ranges, like 10 to 20, not 4 to 6, and still build muscle. It makes my gym sessions longer, which sucks, but at least I'm not injured. The next tweak is for my diet. I am, from now on, gonna take diet breaks. All that means is I go back up to maintenance calories. You know, I had my maintenance, cut 25% of that, got way down, and I'm gonna take like a week every now and again to go back up to maintenance. I was down at like 1,700 calories at one point, literally dreaming about food. I would go to bed and I would be thinking about pancakes, and then I'd be in a dream thinking about cake and sandwiches. And I was miserable, and I would binge on like an entire jar of peanut butter. There's a cookie place by my house that has these 720 calorie cookies. I'd smash 3 or 4 of those. So next time, diet breaks are gonna allow me to stop those binges that would set me back for weeks. So I started my diet in late February at 165 pounds. I ended June 10th at 144 pounds. I lost 21 pounds of mostly fat. I did it supposedly because we had a Hawaiian vacation we were going to. The ironic part, I didn't even take any pictures while I was on vacation. What I found out was I wasn't actually doing this like to impress my family on the beach. Like, who cares? I did it to prove to myself that it wasn't my genetics. I wasn't wasting my time for all these years. I could actually do this. But that leads us to cardio, because everyone always wants to know about this. I used to associate cardio with weight loss because it burns more calories per minute than just weightlifting. My problem though was I would binge on the weekend and try to burn it off with cardio. It was like a punishment for myself that just made me feel better about eating so much. I had to get out of that mindset and not use cardio as a punishment, but just use cardio as a tool to keep me in a calorie deficit. Because cardio is not the trick. The trick to getting lean is just being in a calorie deficit. You can literally do no cardio and lose all the fat you want. Now for me, I did 100 to 120 minutes of cardio per week, which would allow me to eat a little bit more food, which I like. But when I dropped from like 165 to 155, I remember looking in the mirror and not seeing a huge difference because I've been at 155 before. And I thought, maybe my body just isn't meant to get shredded. But thank goodness I took pictures, because progress pictures showed me how much I had changed, which motivated me to get to a new level that I had never been before. It takes a lot of discipline, but having our first kid was actually the saving grace, because we didn't go out a whole lot anymore, eating at restaurants, having a chance to cheat on my diet, and I kept the exact same schedule pretty much every day. It was actually easier to be disciplined in my fitness life. Now, there are lots of little details like what to do if your weight loss stalls, which also happen, and I'm gonna cover those in another video. But 95% of what I did was progressive overload in the gym and energy balance in the kitchen. That's it, those 2 things. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments.